Imagine thousands dancing through Jerusalem's streets, rabbis juggling fire, priests pouring water from golden pitchers. Then, right in the middle of it all, Jesus stands up and shouts, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink." This wasn't random. It was a direct confrontation with centuries of ritual. Simchat Beit Hashoavah, rejoicing at the place of water drawing, is celebrated during Kol HaMeod Sukkot, i.e., the intermediate days of Sukkot, the festival, right? The days between the first and the last days. In 2025, Sukkot runs from sundown October 6th to nightfall October 13th. Therefore, Simchat Beit Hashoavah would take place during the nights of October 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, i.e., the nights corresponding to the intermediate days, in case you're interested. But let's talk about the symbolism here. When Jesus crashed history's greatest water party, rabbis juggling fire while crowds danced through Jerusalem streets. This wasn't your typical religious service. The Simchat Beit Hashoavah transformed the temple into something closer to a festival than a sanctuary. Rabbi Simon ben Gamliel juggled 8 lighted torches and performed handstands on 2 fingers, feats no one else could master. The Mishnah declared that anyone who hadn't witnessed this celebration had never seen true joy. Golden candelabra blazed with oil and wicks made from priests' worn-out vestments, lighting every courtyard in the city. Then Jesus stood up and interrupted everything. The body as spiritual expression. Most people imagine ancient Jewish worship as solemn and restrained, dull and boring. No, I'm adding that. Okay. The Simchat Beit Hashoavah shatters that assumption completely. Second Temple Jews understood something we've largely forgotten. The body participates in spiritual experience. Dancing wasn't entertainment. Juggling wasn't just showmanship. Physical celebration became a channel for encountering the divine. The priests' discarded vestments, transformed into wicks for massive candelabra, symbolized this perfectly. Ordinary material became sources of divine illumination. Physical elements channeled spiritual realities. The holistic approach to worship engaged the whole person. Body and spirit worked together, creating unity rather than division between physical and spiritual expression. The celebration connected immediate agricultural needs with ultimate spiritual hopes. Water meant survival for the coming year, but it also pointed toward messianic promises of salvation. Then we get the strategic interruption. Jesus chose his moment with surgical precision. The last day of the feast, the climatic moment when golden pitchers carried water from the pool of Siloam to the temple altar. Thousands had spent a week celebrating water with their entire beings. Then Jesus declared himself the source of living water. This wasn't Gentile teaching. This was strategic confrontation wrapped in symbolic fulfillment. The water ceremony carried massive political weight. Alexander Jannaeus, a Sadducee priest, once poured the water on his feet instead of the altar, enraging crowds who pelted him with citron fruits. These are like giant lemon limes, right? The incident resulted in 6,000 deaths. They took this seriously, okay? Jesus understood exactly what he was interrupting. A celebration that defined Jewish identity. A ritual that separated Pharisees from Sadducees. A moment when the entire community focused on divine blessing through physical ceremony. His proclamation forced an immediate choice. Continue celebrating the symbol or embrace the reality it pointed toward. The division that reveals everything. Some people were offended. Others were drawn in. The difference reveals something profound about spiritual hunger. Those content with external observance saw Jesus as disruptive, while why interrupt such a joyful celebration? Why challenge something that worked so beautifully? But others, recognizing something they'd been missing, even within this incredible physical celebration, they remained spiritually unsatisfied. External joy doesn't guarantee internal fulfillment. The most exuberant religious experiences can mask deep spiritual hunger. Ritual participation doesn't automatically translate into spiritual transformation. Jesus exposed what was already there beneath the surface. Some people dancing and celebrating were truly thirsty for something the ceremony couldn't provide. This creates space for his innovation. If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. The systematic pattern. This moment reveals Jesus' entire methodology for engaging religious traditions. He wasn't randomly criticizing. He was systematically identifying gaps between external practice and internal spiritual reality. Throughout his ministry, Jesus probed beneath surface practices to reveal true motives and authentic faith. He challenged hypocrisy and superficial piety while calling people toward transformed lives marked by love, mercy, and faithfulness. His approach aligned with Israel's prophetic tradition. The prophets consistently condemned empty ritualism while calling for sincere devotion and justice. Jesus operated with both fulfillment and confrontation. He affirmed the ritual's deepest meaning while challenging its sufficiency. He positioned himself within Jewish prophetic tradition while transcending it. John consistently presented Jesus as the true reality behind Old Testament institutions and ceremonies. The pattern was methodical. Identify the symbol, reveal its limitation, offer himself as the fulfillment. This wasn't about abolishing tradition. It was about exposing where external observance failed to produce genuine spiritual fruit. So going beyond the water ceremony. Understanding this pattern changes how we read Jesus' entire ministry. Every interaction with religious leaders and practices followed a similar logic. He consistently moved conversations from external compliance to heart transformation, from ritual observance to relational reality, from temporary satisfaction to permanent spiritual renewal. The Simchat Beit Hashoavah interruption wasn't an isolated incident. It was a masterclass in symbolic transformation, revealing Jesus' sophisticated understanding of how religious systems work and where they fall short. His ability to perceive spiritual hunger beneath even the most joyful celebrations demonstrates systematic discernment. He could identify the gap between form and substance across all religious traditions and practices. This creates ongoing challenges for religious communities. How do we ensure outward expressions align with inward devotion? How do we nurture both communal celebration and individual spiritual growth? The water ceremony moment shows us that even the most powerful religious experiences have inherent limitations. True spiritual fulfillment requires moving beyond ritual to deeper personal encounter with the divine. Jesus' interruption wasn't destruction, it was invitation, an offer to experience the living water that satisfies eternally, transforming communal celebration into personal spiritual encounter with the Most High. Right? The pattern continues today. Wherever external religious practice exists without internal spiritual reality, the same gap remains. The same invitation stands. The question becomes whether we're content with the celebration or hungry for the reality it points towards. Okay? Hey, thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you haven't done so, please think about subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and sharing it with a friend. Okay? It helps us a great deal, and I thank you for that, and it helps a lot of other people as well. So, have a great day.